Wagner chief today is, I think, will be praying and hoping that he survives for a while at least.
But do you really believe that Prigozhin, the Wagner boss, he would disappear quietly into the night? Because that's very unlikely. One of the scenarios being painted on by conspiracy theorists is that uh, Putin is going to have him killed, and rightly so. People who oppose Putin have done much lesser than what this gentleman has done. They mysteriously fall off windows, they disappear, they die, you know, because just letting him go into exile after a mutiny of this kind does not even serve the image of Putin well. Do you think?
I think so. I think it's going to be. He's a targeted man. Wagner chief today is, I think, will be praying and hoping that he survives for a while at least, because there are two aspects. One is, of course, this whole image business of Putin. That once you have, created an image that you are all powerful, that you are the Russian state, that anyone who challenges you will be taken out, then I think you cannot let one of the most serious challenges to you go, without any punishment. So I think certainly, and he went on television. Mr. Putin went on television and he said, "This is a stab on the back of Russia." I believed in him, and he stabbed me. So and in one of his older interviews, which is being circulated, he has said that he was asked if can he forgive, and he said, most things I forgive, but not treason. So I think there is certainly that aspect of Putin and personality issue. The bigger question also being that once the authority of the Russian state has been challenged, can you let him go that easily? And that is a question that many in Russian media are also asking. That what about Russian laws? What about Russian, what about the Russian state and its authority? If anyone can come and challenge you, and then a deal can be struck, and then he's out, then what happens to others? Will this not provoke others? So I think Putin will be thinking very hard of what he needs to do here. But I think he has so many other problems at the moment. That the challenges both within and outside. That first he has to show some consolidation, and then maybe this is a long-term challenge that, as you point out, can be taken at a time and place of Putin's choosing.
Let's just turn this conspiracy theory to its head and look at it from Prigozhin's point of view. There is the Belarus president who was very close to this Wagner chief. He said he was the one who sort of spoke to him, thrashed out the deal with him. We don't know what the contours of that deal are. And then the last visual that we saw of Prigozhin was in Rostov, several hundred miles from Moscow. And then he's said to have gone into exile in Belarus. Whether he's reached there or not, I'm not sure yet, because we've not seen a visual from that country yet. Having said that, there are many in Belarus administration, government, who are very critical of the way Belarus is going. Do you think that Prigozhin might team up with these gentlemen there and sort of continue his onslaught on Putin?
I think Putin would be watching him very closely now, and I think the fact that Putin's authority could be challenged like this, despite the fact that Prigozhin was, he was signaling that he's unhappy with the defense ministry. He wanted to change, and the Russian defense ministry then came back and said, we want all these fighters to be absorbed into the army rather than fighting as mercenaries, which he opposed. So I think it became a tussle for turf. And the issue is that you have 26,000 of his soldiers who are out there. It's a huge, they are the ones who have fought, they are trained, and they can fight. So ultimately the question is, what happens to them? Under whose authority are they working on? Will the Wagner chief still commands their support? And if he does, then how he's going to use them? So I think the question that you are raising is going to be very important one for Putin now to keep an eye out for as to what happens. And Belarus, I think, in particular, would also be very sensitive because we've already seen Belarus being dragged into the Ukrainian conflict in ways that perhaps many in Belarus don't like. Right? You have now nuclear weapons on their territory. Tactical weapons are now there. And now the Wagner chief is there. So indirectly, it is being implicated in a war that Putin started, that Russia started, but the costs are being borne by Belarus. Now, whether Belarus is able to sustain. Lukashenko is there at the moment. He wants to manage this.
Yeah.
But post Lukashenko, there is a huge challenge to his authority in Belarus. How does this pan out? I think this is a serious question both for Belarus and for Russia now, both in terms of their bilateral engagements as well as what happens domestically in these countries.